So this particular trek was set in the west of Scotland. I've been walking the British coast for years. In fact, I've walked almost all of the English coast. This particular part of the British coast has always scared me. In fact, the more I thought about the walk and tried to work out why I found it so unnerving doing this piece, it's just to do with layers of difficulty. I think that any one thing, like climbing a mountain, isn't a problem on its own, fording a river isn't a problem on its own, carrying provisions isn't a problem, carrying a tent. It's somehow when you bundle them all together, it gets difficult. And realising that we were going into a space where if there was difficulty, if I injured an ankle, I'd be in real trouble because there wouldn't be an easy way of getting help. At first, I struggled to imagine what the highlights were because it had been a challenge. And then I realised there'd actually been many highlights to this trip. One highlight was just having the opportunity to see a part of the country I hadn't seen before, but then entering into this little mountain kingdom I hadn't been to before. There was something quite exhilarating about that. I feel very alive in those spaces. And of course, my compatriot Ian, who put up with me for 6 days, was also a blessing and a privilege, and I couldn't have done this without him. I mean, on nets, it was actually more difficult than I expected. Big challenge was just stamina. I was being accompanied by someone who was very fit, was used to doing double marathons. I'd done my fair share of practice, but was not at that grade by any means. But still, no, day 2 absolutely finished me. Having to clamber up this pathless mountain all day with a very heavy pack and just having to pick our way and not look where to put our feet at each moment, both going up and coming down. There are so many things to learn about ourselves, aren't there, when we do stuff like this. I think I learned about both my strengths and my weaknesses. I think I learned my weaknesses first. I learned that I had limits to my stamina, which of course I knew. I'm not a spring chicken, and I know I'm not as fast or fit as I once was, but I probably was too ambitious, too optimistic in what I could achieve, and I had to learn to be more realistic about what I could achieve, and that was quite painful. But converse to that, I also learned that I could still achieve and I could still move on. The aim of this fundraiser was a project I've been working on for about 16, 17 months now, and that is to write up the story of Viva. Viva is very close to my heart. I had the privilege of working with Viva for 24 years, but I was aware that story of how it came to be wasn't really documented, and many of the current team were mostly unfamiliar with it, as were the supporters of Viva and lots of other people out there who should know about it. And though we're doing the work voluntarily, there's lots of things that we will need money for to get this thing published. I found in my many years of working with Viva, it infuriated me that I could never really explain why it was important to me. And I felt that maybe my last contribution to Viva should be to actually find a way to communicate the story of Viva in a way that encapsulates what it really is, and maybe even explain that to myself first, and then hopefully make a really compelling read from that story. It would be a crime really not to have it told. So my aim is to get it out there into a place where people who've never heard of Viva and don't really know anything about its ethos, but who really get the humanity behind it, will want to read and understand what it's all about.